Welcome to Breakfast Central this beautiful Monday morning. Thank God it's Monday. Yes, we don't suffer from Monday blues here on Breakfast Central. We're very excited to kick off the week in great style. As always, I am Benga Bora. Welcome to the program. We have 3 hours of non-stop news, information, current affairs, and everything you need to start your day right here on Breakfast Central. I'm not alone. I'll hand you over to the great Joe Hansen.
What's good, Benga? Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria, wherever you're watching us from, whether in Jos Plateau State, or better still, you're watching us from Anambra, or better still, you're watching us from Delta, Rivers, name it, Pawtucket. Yeah, you could just name it. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those who are watching us from outside of Nigeria, welcome to Breakfast Central. I wasn't here on Friday, and I did hear a lot of statements, and thanks to those who had reached out, and to those who said I was on maternity leave.
Yeah, people like Olive. Me, I got your back, you know.
It's okay. You did what?
Men supporting men.
So what did you do?
I defended you like a human rights writer and a watcher. I defended your integrity and your human rights.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, you can play back.
I'm going to go back. I'll make sure I play back. And when I play back, I'll find out because I can see the video here. So I'll watch the entire stretch. Well, for our viewers who have joined us, thank you so much. We're streaming live on YouTube. It's Monday morning. Don't worry, Olive is around the corner. We'll be introducing her in a bit, but for now, we just need to let her know that we're in charge. For now, let her relax. Let's start the show, okay? Benga, a lot has happened all through the weekend. First of all, how was your weekend, by the way? Let me ask.
I mean, it was very brief. I closed my eyes on Friday, and I opened my eyes already Monday. That's how these things work. But we're glad to be here and looking forward to an eventful and positive week, not just for us, but for Nigeria as a whole. But I heard some really heartbreaking news about 2027 that, you know, the minister said they are about to remove subsidy on power. But we'll get into that more. So it's not, I mean, people are financially stretched. And I don't know the elasticity level of an average Nigerian, but it looks like the government is about to stretch them some more by removing subsidy on electricity tariff. And you know what that means, the implication of that. More inflation, little money chasing goods. So we'll get to that.
And that begs the question, have things improved from the last place Nigerians found themselves? Or have they in any way, gone below par? And what is below par? That's another question because...
I mean, it depends on which side of the political spectrum you are. And that was what led to the sort of discussion we're going to open our breakfast, our wake-up conversations with. So the jury is out, you decide.
That's fine. Benga, go ahead. Let's
give you the story. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has defended Cardinal Onaiyekan, the Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja, after he was criticized, I beg your pardon, by 2 presidential aides for comments made following a meeting between the president and the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. The rights group accused the aides of disrespecting the clerics, stressing that Onaiyekan's remarks were in the public interest. In a statement signed by its national coordinator, Emmanuel Onwubiko, HURIWA condemned the reactions of Daniel Bwala and Temitope Ajayi to the Cardinal's interview. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the ADC, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, also weighed in criticizing the presidency's attack on the Catholic Church and the Cardinal Onaiyekan. He accused the Tinubu administration of being intolerant of dissent and relying on fake and compliant clerics. Recall that video or the images we saw of fake clerics some years ago during the 2023 elections. Contrasting this with the independence of Catholic bishops, the controversy followed President Tinubu's engagement with the bishops, where he defended his record but accused Onaiyekan and the church of siding with opposition candidate Peter Obi.
Wow. a lot, Winger, happened this weekend, and the image.
Image we have.
Yeah, interesting image there on the
I
screen.
think it's the fake or the real ones.
No, these are the fake. These are the fake. According to according to former governor of Rivers State.
Yeah, so we.
And now the FCT minister Nyesom Wike says, fake. Look at it. Say, Usman Danford, your heart. Fake. Wow. But I mean, it's Monday morning. We need to cheer things. We need to cheer up. There's a lot going on.
That's a fashionable bishop.
But what you see?
The right of my screen.
Which one?
The fashionable bishop with the glasses.
Come on, with those glasses, eh?
Yeah.
There's also a video, by the way. I don't know if our producers have it. Why are we going back this morning? It's Monday morning. You're wondering why we're going back. We're going back to show this set of bishops.
It's still a current.
Yeah, I mean this
back
set. To this image you see there on the screen. We're going back because this set of bishops that you have there on the screen have been trending, especially since the story of the presidency accusing the Catholic bishop of coming to national television and spilling the beans on what the conversations looks like with the president. We also have seen videos, and there are many videos. The videos of the president saying that hunger has always existed before he became president, and there's nothing he can do about it. Yeah. You know, we've seen also videos of the president during the conversation where he also said, listen, he talked about security. I mean, he was discussing security, and then he talked about security and then went straight to the national anthem. And we've seen a lot of videos, you know, going around in circulation. Bottom line, the Catholic bishops who had visited, of course, in speaking on national television, also laid claims that they had gone there to speak about the current situation of things. Let's take note. They
have members who are ordinary members of society.
Absolutely.
Who are members of their country.
Absolutely. And in explanation, they made it clear that it seems like the president is protected or surrounded by people who don't want him to understand the reality
yes men.
Of things, and that's what we call yes men. That didn't go down well with the presidency.
And the yes men, I mean, true to tradition and form, did prove why they were yes men. They had to defend their salaries
and they went ahead, you know. Hence why you have Huriwa, you have a former vice president. Then Nigerians decided to go a little further. They went to dig deeper, and they found out that some of the people who are speaking against the Catholic bishops,
Cardinal Onaiyekan especially.
Yes, Onaiyekan especially. I don't even want to single him out is because he didn't go there alone.
True.
The difference is he just came to speak and say, oh, this is what we said. But let's look at it in two ways, Bing. I want us to look at something clearly. If the Catholic archbishops, or the bishops rather, I beg your pardon, went into that meeting, had the meeting with the president, and then they came out and nobody heard anything concerning what that meeting was all about. Remember, the only thing we saw were the response videos of the president. I don't know if you recall. We only saw the president responding, and it came from one side.
Very true.
It is the same you as Nigerians that will go on social media and would go online and would go ahead and attack, in quotes, the bishops by saying, what were they really going to do there? Were they going there?
Speculate
exactly.
And carry rumors on what was discussed.
What was discussed? Did they go there to speak on behalf of the citizens? Did they go there to speak on behalf of, in quotes, this time the church? Or did they go there for personal, gains and so on? But one of its member, of course, a leading figure, that's the man you have there on the screen, came out and said, this is what was said. And he explained that this is how they felt at the end of the day. But yet, guess what? They were being attacked. And like I was going to say, social media is a place where you see, when we always say this, Benga, whatever you say, you have to be careful. I mean, this is Daniel Boala's statement here. I'm sorry, but with all due respect, I don't take his statements seriously any longer, because I mean, there are receipts of statements that were made So there's no way you can speak from two sides.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, with all due respect. Bing, I don't know if you want to read it, but I don't take it seriously any longer as a journalist. I don't bother reading.
Let's take this statement from Daniel Bwala, special advisor to Mr. President, one of his aides. He said Cardinal Onaiyekan wasn't speaking for Christians, he was speaking for Catholics. The very institution rooting for Peter Obi, in fact, likely the institution where Peter Obi said in 2022, take back your country. Therefore, Cardinal is more political than spiritual. And not all Catholic members are supporting Peter Obi. The president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was well within his rights to disagree with their assertions regarding Nigeria's economy based purely on facts, statistics, and numbers put into context. Ironically, the same priest would rebuke their members if their members said we're suffering or we're poor. They would tell them to rather say we're doing great and or we are rich even when they're suffering or poor. There is a body comprising all Christians, including the Catholics and Catholic Bishops' Conference, and that body's position is neutral and should be so. Otherwise, it's political. I don't understand where...
That's why I said, I wonder, it's good you took it. So
if you state the way people feel, and if we go to the streets and take a poll on how Nigerians are faring economically in the last 3 years, the respondents would overwhelmingly tell you that, look, things are tough, things are hard. So because, he conveyed the position of the majority of Nigerians to Mr. President, does he mean he's a supporter of Peter Obi, or does it make him political?
This Peter Obi
he's just reported. And it's funny how Peter Obi gets...
This Peter Obi always receives stray bullets. I wonder what he does to receive. He will just be in his house.
And I understand Mr. Bwala's position. You know, even in the U.S., we see the White House spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, trying to defend the government's position. But there are ways to be... You have to be tact and circumspect about it. You shouldn't... looking at an elder statesman like Cardinal Onaiyekan, who's been there at the forefront of speaking truth to power since the days of General Sani Abacha, you expect him to be treated with more respect. More is expected from Mr. President's aides. It's not personal attacks. Put out the record there if you disagree respectfully and put the statistics, or conduct polls among Nigerians and decide whose position is true or not, rather than personal attacks and anecdotes.
I agree with you. And I think you should say it louder again, please. That, maybe I should help you, let me re-echo it, maybe you can say it again. I think the only way to handle issues like this is, if you feel that what the Cardinal said is not right, come on the road, on the streets of different streets in Nigeria, carry out a poll. Yes. For those who are doubting Thomases, carry out a poll on Nigerians. We can even carry it out here on YouTube on your behalf. Are things better or are they tougher? Let's carry out that poll. You know, it's one thing, we're not trying to discredit anybody. But then again, let's also mention that as journalists from this side of the table, because sometimes they say, oh, the journalists are, I've seen members say, oh, journalists are just blabbing, they don't know anything and so on. But that's a lie.
Or they assume journalists are partisan.
Partisan. No, we're not.
Questions.
Not at all.
When we ask questions on behalf of Nigerians.
Absolutely. That's our job. Our job is to ask the questions. Do you know how much a bag of rice is now? By the way, do you even know that the minimum wage of 70,000 naira is no longer enough to even take care of the basics, compared to when it was 30,000 naira, where it was enough? Have you seen the fuel price? So these are the things, these are the basic conversations. And I think the only way to go about it is basically, like the people would say, just have a dialogue. What I saw there was a dialogue. We didn't expect that it would escalate to this level where it would be a case of, oh, you are fake, you are political, you are not a bishop, you are not this, you're not that. Hence, why the throwback image came, because netizens decided to go online and dig up what they call fake. I mean, forgive us, it's fake, but we borrow the words of a popular, politician who said fake bishops And there's also a video where the bishops were changing their clothes. Benga, where they were changing to the regalia. I don't know if our producer has that video. They were changing to it. And nobody in the camp today said, oh, truly, these guys are fake. This is an image. This is a newspaper. Buhari hails Father Mbaka for courage in faulting Jonathan's government. This was President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's government, where the popular Father Mbaka, you know, people said he was frolicking with politicians. He was sitting down with them. They were having conversations. He was at the forefront as a critic, and he would continue to critique. Nobody said anything wrong. There's also there are newspapers that also show even the same Catholic bishops criticizing Jonathan too. They also told him, listen, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that listen, you are not doing well in this aspect. They also criticized him. If you look, now this is Premium Times, taking it back, stop reckless borrowing, they mentioned, fight corruption. Who is that person talking? Benga, can you see? What is the next statement?
Catholic bishops.
September 14, 2012. There was no rancor. There was no issue. So what we're trying to say here is, this is another one, Premium Times. Catholic bishops blast Jonathan, governors.
Rights abuses.
You see so? So this morning, we're not on any divide, as it seems. We're in the middle, and like Benga said when we started this conversation, we're putting you either on the right or the left. You decide.
Exactly. We're just putting the facts
where do you stand? We're just throwing the facts out there, you know, a little balance. But the lady steps into the building, looking dashing as always, fresh, not fresh, fresh.
Looking
and hopefully,
like a freshly called to bar lawyer.
Exactly. The next person stepping in for maternity levels, you understand?
If there's anyone that has gone on maternity levels,
yeah,
it is you. Because you were aware of
Confess. What were the terrible things you were saying about Johansson?
Benga, you were the one. You echoed when I said, I don't tell lies. I said
we're both
that Joe was
dear men.
well, and I told people to give maternity leave shout out to Joe. And you supported that. Anyway,
we have very important national issues on the table right now. We can
we'll segue back into what both of you said while I was off, you know. But it's fine. Let's be honest. What we see here is a lot. But we're going to do this. Let's go on X. Let's see what Nigerians are saying. And then when we come back, we'll let Olive do her own explanation on what she thinks about this entire story. But let's see what Nigerians are saying on X very quickly. Ogbonna says the Cardinal did nothing wrong. He exercised a right Nigerians love so much, the right to free expression. I watched the video clip recorded off transmission. All the Cardinal did was create an understandable perspective of the conversation that took place between the Catholic priest and the commander-in-chief in the chat on prime time. Yeah, that was a program on Arise Television. Now, those image makers didn't need to fly so low, he says. Those cheap shots aimed at the bishop do not address the core issue. Are Nigerians more hungry today than they were in the past? Question mark. I had to stress that. Babs says, the so-called presidential aides are not doing anything good to the president and the people in this country. Political positions and public offices, for God's sake, he says. You could feel that sake with the exclamation mark. You could tell that Babs is actually, or literally, taking his voice to the pinnacle. As Zigben says, what was his offense? Both the president and his aides are public office holders. Point number one. The president is elected to serve a 4-year term, while his aides are appointed and can be dismissed at his discretion. However, attempting to keep matters of public interest behind closed doors is wrong. Holding meetings at private doors does not change the realities discussed. It only reinforces the perception that the president has little understanding of what ordinary Nigerians are going through in the country he was elected to govern. I would like to know, what exactly was the offense of the Catholic bishops? Has speaking truth to power now become a crime? He asked.
Saying things the way they see it.
That's another one. Well, Badejo Emmanuel says he's a citizen of the country. Same claim as President Tinubu. You people should stop the president as someone special if you claim that you voted him. He's responsible to us. The focal point of a president's job is to be responsible to populace, not to himself. So says Babs, when it comes to suffering, hunger, no lights, no job, then no they talk of confidentiality. Confidentiality, Benga, calm down. But the moment one man of God open mouth and speak, what is here? Suddenly, now breach. Bam. That's what they say. Olive, want to go on YouTube for us, or is there anything?
Let's, first of all, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And I just want to re-echo your thoughts in the sense that if they hadn't come out to clearly state what had happened behind the scenes, we're in very sensitive times. And the kind of sensitive times that we are, the slightest thing could hit up the polity.
Sure.
So we are in the era of utmost transparency and clarity. Oh, I had this meeting. See what we said, oh, see what was said. This person approached me and this is how it ended. Utmost clarity, because we overemphasize, and really we cannot emphasize enough, the breach of trust in our government, the breach of trust between the citizens and the government, such that there's always this corner eye that citizens are using to look at the government. And when things don't pan out in the way that they expect, or there's a slight, with the slightest brush, you can be painted the wrong way. And the church has a key role to play in terms of, there's been the argument of whether church should be separated from the state, but that's not the core of this conversation. But imagine that the church is then seen as an institution that is being partisan in this case. It's not going to look too good. But I'll take comments on YouTube. And our very next story is closely related to this one, so you might want to stick around for that. Good morning to our YouTube audience. Osa says the real bishops have done the right thing. This government, with the help of Boala, are continually separating this country, now through religion. How can a spokesman of government write such a statement of division? The religious who face the ordinary people every day have come to tell you what the people face. And instead of the president to assure them that he will do the needful, he told us that hunger has been there before he was born. And this only shows that there's no solution at the end of the tunnel. We don't enter one chance. GEG warned us that we should ask them what change. The next comment is from Michael Zeus, who says, Catholic bishops globally stand by truth at all times. He then says, Boala is just planning to arrange mechanics, plumbers, iron scavengers to be robbed as Christians, and present them to Tinubu as his endorsers. Do you recall that time when there were certain bishops that
we put it out. We put it out. We put it out.
That aligned themselves.
We did. Our director could also put that same image there.
Anyway, in 2014, Nathan Emmanuel says, the Catholic cardinals criticized GEG and APC, celebrated them during Buhari, same thing. But immediately you tell this government the truth, you are partisan. Bagresi wants to know how your weekend is. He says, Benga and Drew, how was your weekend?
Not bad. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Okay. Avu Ahanda says, a man who can hire thugs disguised as real bishops during the election will do anything to turn a blind eye from the truth. It is now clear that PBAT has totally cut off from the pain of citizens. Nathan Emmanuel, good morning. I'm at the office. I'm here on set. Samuel Network says, this administration is built on bogus statistics churned out to hoodwink the masses into believing the opposite of the reality. They are enemies of the truth. Osas, we are here. We are here. Thank you so much. Michael Zeus says, Mbaka is a cash and carry money for...
Reverend Mbaka, that's what he's talking about.
I know.
We don't know about that. That's your opinion.
Frank Oputa says, they want the bishops to come and sing on your mandate, Abi. Good morning, NC. Truth is bitter. This is the time to speak truth to power. One day truth will prevail. Femi Olagunju says. We'll move on to the next story and then we'll come back to take some more comments because it's closely related. A Catholic Reverend Father in Delta State openly criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 50 kg bag of rice branded with the president's image meant to be shared amongst members of his parish. The Reverend Father blasted the government for offering politically packaged food items instead of tackling Nigeria's deepening economic crisis. The priests declared that Nigerians do not need rice handouts, but sustainable policies to fight inflation, unemployment, and poverty, stressing that such palliatives are nothing more than political propaganda. While social media reactions remain divided, Some citizens have praised his boldness as a voice of truth, whilst others insist that in times of hunger, any relief was welcome, leaving the nation to ponder whether branded rice is charity or manipulation, and whether leaders should focus on short-term giveaways or long-term solutions. Let's take a look.
Just before the close of March this morning, I announced to parishioners who breathed through the rain to attend Mass this morning that they should come to the mission house, to the rectory, that I have something for them. So they are going to come immediately after prayer. They are done with prayers after Mass. They are going to come this morning. They came under the rain to attend Mass. So they will be coming here. And what am I going to give to them? I will be sharing rice for them. I will be sharing a bag of rice for them. 3 days ago, I returned to the house and I saw that they told me somebody brought a bag of rice. And when I looked at the bag of rice, it's a customized bag of the President of Nigeria, and it is a renewed hope ambassador of Nigeria. So I decided to say, okay, is this for the President or those working for the President? I'm not interested in the bag of rice. That money, you see, it is a product of the irresponsible elite that we have in the country. You can imagine the millions and tons of rice that will be distributed across the country. This one is this is brought to me, and this is going to be distributed. I have every reason to conclude that this is how it's going to be distributed to some places across the country. And you can imagine such irresponsibility that instead of coming together, instead of the elites coming together, pooling resources together to build roads and build infrastructure to generate employment for our teen youth, what they do is to buy rice to distribute to people just because elections are coming. And so this is very unfortunate. And I felt like returning the rice, calling the person to come and carry the rice back. But on the second thought, I said, well, out of Christian charity, let me not say anything about that, return it, but share it to parishioners, and that's what we're going to do this morning. So we are bringing out the bag of rice now. Take it there, and stand it. The product of irresponsible leaders that we have, irresponsible elites, and this is what we are make of our president. And then the president is aware of this. This is very unpatriotic. Instead of using this money to build companies, instead of making electricity, building power plants to make electricity stable, instead of building industries, instead of the elites coming together, the government coming together to build industry, all that the supporters of the president and very jobless and irresponsible elites that we have in this country, all that they do is to do this kind of sycophancy. This is purely sycophantic. There is nothing here. And this is, you eat today and you pass it out tomorrow, and your problems remain the same. We are going to share it now, share it to people. Instead of returning it, I thought of returning it, but I said no. Let me share it to parishioners. So parishioners that blazed through the rain this morning to come from us, as you can see, they are already coming. I'm going to share it for them. I'm going to share it for them. After all, it's their money. Very irresponsible and wicked elites that we have in this country. Very irresponsible and wicked elites that we have in this country. You are sharing bags of rice. No electricity, no good roads. Look at the road from Benin to Delta State. No good road, no stable electricity. There are no companies. Money released in billions.
Permit me, my colleagues, to ring the bell.
Please, go ahead.
Because this Reverend Father deserves it.
Why?
He deserves the applause because he's clearly stating his position, that he's not in any way affiliating or aligning himself with any political eye service that is being done. The question is, if the citizens are experiencing a lot of hard times, a number of them are not able to make ends meet with their expenses surpassing their revenue. And if you're bringing bags of rice with branded faces close to the election, months before the election, what narrative are you sending across? And by the time the Reverend Father, I like the fact that he was very clear about the position and said, we're not aligning ourselves with this. what we're expecting is the government to be able to be held accountable for doing the basics. If you created an economy where citizens are earning enough and able to, nobody wants to be given hand-me-downs. Nobody wants to be able to say, oh, I mean, most people who have
supposed to be progressing. This is
don't want to be given 50 kg bag of rice as compensation.
You don't give fish to men. You teach men how to fish. And it's very, very sad and very heartbreaking that in 2026, this is what we're discussing when it comes to politicking in Nigeria, when other countries are sending
people to
nations to space. It's really, really sad and heartbreaking. And one of the, just over the weekend, Tracker came out with this discovery. The Cooperative College got 1.8 trillion for 2,791 capital projects. And we asked the advisor to Mr. President, who was attacking Cardinal Onaiyekan about all this.
He said it's moral. He said it's moral.
He said it's moral. He didn't see any problem in it. The review of the 2026 budget revealed that the Federal Cooperative College, OG River, has been allocated 1.08 trillion. The project spread across 36 states. A single federal cooperative college is meant to implement thousands of projects with nationwide coverage from Abia to Zamfara. Tell me, what is this cooperative college doing with road and drainage construction, solar street installations, digital learning centers, supply of rice and empowerment materials? Please, since when did rice become an empowerment material? Is the distribution of rice a policy?
Why are you asking that question?
How low have we come? Have we come as a country? And no one is flagging this. People don't even look at this as an emergency. This is a cesspool of corruption. When you have monies allocated to departments that it's not their core function, of course, no one is going to hold you accountable for how you spend the money. And then this business of running budgets concurrently, the whole thing is a mess. I mean, it's reeks of corruption, because how are you going to follow the paper trail? Who did what? Who's responsible for what? You're just modeling up the waters. Cooperative college, we're talking of
who's the owner of that? Who's the owner of that cooperative college?
It would be nice to know.
Because that's a question someone asked. This cooperative college, you have been repeatedly showing in the budget. Who are you, by the way? I mean, who are you? I mean, that's a popular.
Should I take comments?
Go ahead and take comments. We're almost out of time. All
right, on YouTube, good morning, Ikechukwu Amaechi. We see here on Avu Wahonda says, every religious leader in this country has a serious role to play in nation building. But for Nigerian scam, I beg, make una get better coffee for that office. Make we they continue to dey feel una. Please, producer, they say you should give us better coffee this morning. Francis Ania says, the Catholic bishops are clergymen who are not afraid to speak truth to power, unlike some of our highly respected IDGs. Wow. Michael Z says, Tinubu doesn't fund budgets. They allegedly divert these monies to city boys. Renewed hope.
How does he know? Do you know?
There's a new group that was inaugurated over the weekend, Mommy's Boys. Dayo Israel, APC youth leader. He received about 6 or 7 brand new buses, spanking new from the First Lady. It's called Mommy's Boys or something like that. Meanwhile, the First Lady said we should hold Burna Boy and Ashake responsible, that they should do more. Stop buying Lamborghini.
Wait. We are actually Comedy Central.
Are you sure?
No, this is, I mean,
I saw it, but I wasn't too sure about
our
that.
Producers, in the course of, maybe by the time we get to newspaper review, we'll look at that.
And it's interesting because it's the
And the headline of Weekend Trust, the front page of this last Weekend Trust was First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, who is funding your donations.
Oh, that was the headline.
That was the headline by Daily Trust, the weekend edition.
Anyway, keep the comments coming on YouTube. This morning it's quite an interesting morning, seeing what's happening and how how far we've fallen. I'm really sorry. You've paid your rent. Let's thank God first. The kind of things that we pray about and we thank God about. Joe and I were having this conversation before we came on about how someone in the UK was telling me, they had gotten a car for less than £1,000. imagine in Nigeria.
Less than one.
She said, I don't have a lot of money, but the things that you people pray to have are the things I easily have here.
I'm also going to mention, I mean, I know we have to go. We have our first guest, but we just want to steal just a few minutes because we need to go on X to get reaction on that Bishop's video where he said he's going to share the rice as well. So let's see what Nigerians are saying on X regarding that particular story. That story is in line with what we took as our first story, where a cross-section, especially presidency, because I've been looking through the comments. But let's see. Primark says, God bless this Reverend, Reverend Father. In fact, for sharing it and still speaking out the rot of the government in sharing rights rather than good governance is what Primark says. Let's another one. Daniel, you are really a genuine man of God with people in your heart, not those money mongers that will collect and praise him in his congregation. That's what Daniel says. Another one very quickly. Let's see another tweet as soon as possible concerning this. Ooh, Xbeam says there's no road, collect rice. Benga. This is the answer I was trying to give to you. People are dying. You can echo the other sentiment.
No light, collect
rice.
No good hospitals, collect rice. There is bad leadership, collect rice. There is no stable electricity,
Collect rice.
Fuel is expensive,
Collect rice.
Education is expensive,
Collect rice.
Government of rice, by rice and for rice, a rice-ocracy.
All right, wake up.
Arise, O compatriots.
Actually, I wanted to...
Nigerians,
segue. We finish. We are not in the mood to do Wake Up Central. Echo the collect rice. We're not in the mood to do Wake Up Central.
Collect rice.
People drop comments on YouTube.
Collect rice.
It's time for us to go on break.
Collect rice.
But before we go on break, let's show you what the top stories are.
Collect rice.
All right, this morning on Breakfast Central, this is what we are discussing. Collect rice. Atiku slams federal government economic claims. He accuses the government of misrepresenting Nigeria's economic stance. Cardinal Onaiyekan alleges President Tinubu's administration is hell-bent on retaining power. INEC publishes full list of presidential candidates, and we'll be looking into the details of this. We have the front pages of the papers. But before then, you know, every morning we bring you stories about finance and tech. And this morning's digital finance innovation we'll be looking at. The newspaper front pages will form a core, and we'll open the phone lines at that point. Stay with us. The conversation around Nigeria's economy has taken a new political turn after former Vice President and African Democratic Congress ADC presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar challenged the Tinubu administration's economic record. In a statement issued by his senior special assistant on public communication, Frank Shaibu, Atiku dismissed recent remarks by the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, arguing that the government claims on debt reduction, subsidy savings, and economic recovery does not reflect the realities facing millions of Nigerians. Citing figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Atiku argued that the country's debt profile has continued to rise despite the removal of fuel subsidy, while questioning whether politics such as the new minimum wage and the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, have delivered tangible benefits to citizens. The presidency, however, maintains that its reforms are laying the foundation for long-term economic stability, investment, and sustainable growth. To now separate the politics from the economics and examine, of course, what these competing claims mean for Nigerians, we're joined now by Kunle Oshobi, ADC chieftain and development economist, who will also be joined exploring the conversation and looking in depth into this. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Morning. So the argument, Atiku has argued that the government's explanation is creative accounting, and he cites numbers as to what the reality actually is. However, the government and the presidency often will tell us that they have made these policies, and these policies need time to translate, and that the argument of how does it translate to the common man is a lazy argument. Help us separate this.
Well, you see, the primary function of government, right, is the welfare, security and welfare of the people. So at the end of the day, when you're implementing economic policies, you have to ask yourself, how does it impact on the welfare of the people? Are you just going to make the people better off? And this government came in, they've been there for 3 years now, over 3 years, and that's over half of their tenure. By now, we should start feeling the impacts of the governance. But the truth is that the opposite is the reality, because after, yes, they came in, there were necessary reforms that they needed to do. They came in, they needed to do the subsidy removal, floating the naira. On principle, yes, those are economic policies that were in the right direction, but the truth is that they were very poorly implemented. And this government, they're actually more focused on revenue generation than actually the welfare of the people. So what you see is that the policies that they've implemented is for government to increase their own revenue at the cost of the people, at the detriment of the people. Because at the end of the day, when they remove this subsidy, I'm paying for it, you are paying for it, we're all paying for it. When they float the naira, they've reduced my own purchasing power and collective purchasing power of Nigerians to translate to more revenue for government. So, and what have they done with this increased revenue? Right? What have they done to benefit the people or to benefit the economy? Nothing. The first thing Tinubu did when he became president, he went to squander it on the presidential jet, an unnecessary presidential jet. The next thing, he awards a coastal road project, the biggest contract, single contract in the history of Nigeria, without any competitive bidding, without environmental impact assessment, without any budget for it, without Senate approval, to a company owned by somebody he has publicly acknowledged as his business partner, and he has interest in. So, I mean, you can see what is the whole sense of, okay, the government is generating more revenue, but what are you doing with it?
Now, Mr. Oshobi, I want to follow up on that. The government, I mean, it's a given that the government has made a lot of savings in generating more revenue. And the APC will tell you that, look, more money is being given to the subnationals, the governors and the local government and all the federating units have more money, so you should hold them accountable. Does that argument hold water?
They're just deflecting. Number one, most of revenue still goes to the federal government. Yes, by law, I mean, they are making it sound as if they are benevolent. No, it's by law, this money belongs to the federating units. Yes, because more money is accruing to the federation account, yes, more money is being, but they have to remember one thing, more money that is less value. If you remember, before this administration came in, the exchange rate to the dollar was about 460. Today, it went down to as low as 1,600. I think now the over is between 1,400 or thereabout. So the truth is that the real, to me, it's not even more money. It's like, because in naira terms, it's more money, but
value of it.
It's less. It's actually less. So you're telling us that they're giving them money. They're not giving anybody more money. They're not giving anybody more money. It is their entitlement, and that money, in real terms, is not as valuable as it was before the advent of this administration.
But what about the federating units? Don't they deserve some level of scrutiny? Because we seem to focus our attention a lot on Abuja.
Yes. Okay, now let's look at the federating units. There's very little they can do when it comes to the economy, right? All the policies that are, that affect all of us in the economy are determined by the federal government. The exchange rate is determined by the federal government. Well, these are the things that actually affect inflation. All the parameters that we use to measure inflation, everything is determined by the federal government. The interest rates in the economy is determined by the federal government. Our interest rates today is ridiculously high because the federal government continues to borrow recklessly from the financial system, raising our MPR to 26.5%. As a result, that lending rate is in excess of 35%.
But I mean, they would argue this, and it's clear. They'll tell you the NGX has done fantastically well. Investors are coming in. That's the story we hear. We'll also hear that the floating of the naira has helped the economy stabilize to a certain level. The president, in speaking to the Catholic bishop, said they've been able to stabilize the economy. So how is it that people are now looking at it differently, especially from a different eye? Why is it that it's quite different from what they're saying? And is it so, actually? Have they been able to stabilize?
See, anytime they talk about stabilizing the economy, I just laugh. Who destabilized this in the first instance? You destabilize something because when they came in, I mean, we know what the parameters were. We knew what the exchange rate was. We knew what the inflation rate was. Your poorly implemented policies destabilize the whole economy. And then finally, you see, when an economy is stabilized, normally it will go back to, even on its own, it will go back to, when you throw pebbles in the water, you see ripples, eventually it will settle down. That's what's happening now. Not because this government is doing anything to stabilize the economy. They destabilize it, and the economy is going back to equilibrium. But that economy, equilibrium, we have to look at it. Are we better off than we were before this, I would say APC came into government? APC came into government in 2015. At that time, our GDP was $540 billion. Since then, we've been on a downward spiral. Right? We went to as low as $188 billion in 2024 under Tinubu administration before they rebased the economy, or they rebased the GDP. And then they arrived at about $250 billion. Since then, we've been crawling. The highest economic growth rate they've been able to achieve, I think it's 3, closing on 4%, which is still very low for an economy that was able to, I mean, I remember during the Obasanjo Atiku administration, we were averaging 7% GDP per annum. And in 2002, I think we went as high as 15.3%, which is the highest economic growth rate we've achieved in this country. So when we look at, I mean, we've seen this thing happen before. And somebody is now coming to tell me, oh, they've stabilized the economy, the inflation rate is 14%. Inflation rate should not be more than 3%. 14% is, if they have 14% inflation in any of the Western countries, I'm sure that government will be sacked.
But how realistic is that, us expecting an inflation rate of 3%?
It is very realistic.
Single digit.
Of course, it's very realistic. It's all about how you manage the economy. It's all about how you manage the economy.
I mean, the task of building Nigeria, sorry to butt in, it's a collective effort. I know you're in the opposition, but what would you have done differently looking at the economic realities they were presented with in the beginning of this administration?
Well, you see, I always get amused when this administration, they try to dissociate themselves from the disaster of the Buhari administration because they were part of, they facilitated it, you know. So eventually, and these same people were the ones defending Buhari when he was ruining our economy, you know. What we will have done different, there's so many things. You see, now, I mean, if Atiku had been president, he would have also removed the subsidy.
Even Peter Obi. He said
everybody would have removed it. But you see, there are certain measures you put in place. For instance, during the Jonathan administration, when they went to remove the fuel subsidy, they had this Shopee program in place, that subsidy removal investment policy. You know, they had the policy and they planned for it properly. And of course, this same Bola Tinubu was one of the people that sponsored that Nigeria thing protest to disrupt this, to fight against that fuel subsidy removal that was planned by a previous administration, that they even had a proper plan in place. Tinubu came in, he just destabilized the economy by removing it without any safeguards in place. The same thing, you float the Naira. Simultaneously, before we could recover from that shock, you now float the Naira a month later, and the Naira plummeted. It threw the economy into a tailspin. Before we knew what was happening, they removed this their band A, band B, whatever, energy, but everything just went up. I mean, there was no plan, no safety, safety cards, nothing in place to safeguard the economy. There are certain things, before you implement such policies that go far-reaching in an economy, certain measures need to be put in place.
So CNG buses, NEL fund, they're not enough.
CNG
cushions.
No, definitely not. How many people?
And distribution of rice.
I mean, good questions. Solid.
Yeah, because this
distribution of rice, CNG, NEL fund. Let's start with NEL fund.
You see, the NEL fund, for me, I still don't have the data. I mean, they've made so many ridiculous claims, but knowing this government, I mean, I know they thrive a lot on lies and propaganda.
Why do you say so? That's a strong
statement. I mean, there are so many precedents. You know, as in claiming that NEL fund, you know, when they started in 2003, they had a budget of $5 billion for NEL fund. The next thing they are telling us, $5 billion for the year, which was ridiculously small. The next thing they are telling us now that they spent $300 billion NEL fund. I don't know from where, you know, and they are the 1.6 million beneficiaries. I don't know. I can't verify, but I don't trust that. I don't trust that. And
when you went to university, did you study in Nigeria? You had bursaries. How is the bursary system different from what they're doing with NEL fund?
You see, this personally, I don't believe in NEL fund. I don't believe in NEL.
It's still a loan at the end of it.
It's a loan at the end of the day, because these people are going to graduate. Over half of them are going to get jobs. Are they going to service those loans? Right? They're going to put a debt news on the people about to start their career, already put them in debt. You know, I would have preferred a system, this is my own personal opinion, a system whereby government grants scholarships to intelligence, as in like gifted students. That instead of that money. So look, you have that double advantage of encouraging people to study harder, perform better. When you say, okay, people that can get to this level of grades,
Academic performance.
yeah, you give them scholarships. Use that money for scholarships. And then those that cannot meet up, they either have to pay or, do something else.
Okay, so now Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has criticized the current administration. APC has been in power. APC took over from an APC government. If ADC were to take over power, what do you think would be done differently? And because we ask this because government in, government out, the same cycle repeats itself. The opposition comes to criticize the government of the day and talks about how they would have done a better job. They get into office, they don't actually do a better job. So what would the ADC do differently?
Okay. I like that question because it takes us back to my principal, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He's been there before. As vice president, he was put in charge of the economy during the Obasanjo administration. And this is the period in time that Nigeria achieved the highest economic growth rate in its history and the longest stretch of economic growth. As in, we averaged 7% between 1999 and 2007. That's the highest. So, it's not, and he was the chairman of the National Economic Council, effectively in charge of the economy, right? And so he's done it before. He's not claiming, unlike other politicians say, we'll do. No, it's been done before. And and it's all verifiable. That administration took Nigeria's GDP from $58 billion in 1999 to $270 billion in 2007, which has been, it's like we quadrupled, the economy quadrupled in that era.
So if after this very sterling record, Nigerians did not believe him enough to vote him when he ran for office, what then do you think has...
Sorry, I didn't get that.
With such a sterling record as vice president, you would think that that's a CV that Nigerians should find believable to vote him into office when he ran for presidency, but they didn't. And he's tried over and over again. Why do you think Nigerians will believe him now?
You see, the truth is that I'll say these facts were not well communicated to Nigerians before. And then the truth is that there's a lot of lies, propaganda against the person of Atiku in the media. You know, Nigerians have been, I think we have been robbed, by the way the media has been allowed to disparage one of our very best.
Media disparage, in what sense?
Can we have specific examples?
Yeah.
There's a narrative. There's a narrative about, I don't need to go into specifics, but there's a narrative, which is a wrong narrative about him that tries to create an impression that this is that, but it's not. And this time around, they're going to change that narrative.
What is the narrative?
Okay, maybe we can help you out here.
Yeah.
Is he playing the role of a spoiler by contesting against the principle, the gentlemanly agreement that they had, which is unconstitutional, that it should be 8 years to the south and 8 years to the north, and his ambition has sort of fractured the opposition, therefore clearing the coast for.
I'm sorry,
the APC.
There was no such agreement. There was no such gentleman's agreement as an 8 years to the south and north. It's these. I'm sorry to use the word. These people are just fabricating or. No sort. The only similarity, it was only the PDP that had that agreement in principle, that within the party they would rotate between the north and the south. No politicians in Nigeria sat down and said, okay, we're going to rotate, that kind of thing. And the truth is that if we go back, the north, if we want to go by that line of agreement, the north has been shortchanged with the death of Yar'Adua. And as of today, the south, by the end of Tinubu's tenure, the south will have done 18 years, with the north just over 10 years. So the north is actually playing catch-up. So if we want to go by that line of argument, then we should compensate the north for their tenure they lost during the time of Yar'Adua.
I want to push back still on the question that I had asked earlier about the media propaganda. I want to bring this up is because oftentimes media is easy. We easily throw the media under the bus. So this is an opportunity. If there's been a wrongful perception about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, maybe this would be a great time to correct it. And I did ask what ADC would do differently. that would guarantee different results from what we're currently experiencing?
Okay, good. Yes, I was going to answer that question, Leon. You see, now, when we look at the so-called reforms of this current administration, right, there is what we economists, we call growth drivers. Growth drivers. I said there is no growth driver in any of the economic plans. By growth drivers, I mean that what is the government actually doing to stimulate economic growth? What policies are being put in place? They don't have any. When you listen to Atiku Abubakar talk, the man is passionate about growing the economy, right? And I mean, if you look at his manifesto, 2023 manifesto, we have this policy of a $10 billion economic stimulus plan.
Mm.
This money would have been used as soft loans to SMEs across the country. Easily, my own estimation, it could have created, if you're given loans, let's say 3 million per head, you can give up to 5 billion Nigerian SMEs, entrepreneurs, loans. This will create at least 15 million. Right? And I mean, that will solve a lot of our economic problems.
Mm.
So there are no policies that this government is doing for the people. All they're doing is to amass revenue, and then they just squander it. The fact that government revenue is increasing at the detriment of people doesn't mean the economy is growing. Yes, government revenue is increasing, even just in naira, not even in dollar terms. But it's increasing, and they use that as to make noise propaganda. The economy is growing. No, it should be about the welfare of the people, not about government revenue.
Okay, but two questions here, because we're looking set to wrap up. The presidency says the governors now have more money. So don't you think the presidency has done something fantastic? I mean, they're now giving governors more money. That's one. Two, infrastructure. We've seen development. The Minister of Works the FCT minister, roads are being built here and there. And then thirdly, I just hope you get the question. The president recently just dissolved the Presidential Implementation Committee on the sale and privatization, of course, of federal government assets, of which the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, also oversaw, where we saw, the privatization of NITEL and so on. Nigerians are still asking questions, what happened to that? So these three steps that we've mentioned, from the dissolving of the committee down to infrastructure being made, also we've seen governors having more money. Is that not enough to boost the economy?
No. You see, as I said, I answered that question earlier on. Governors are having more money, but the money is less valuable than it used to be.
Mm.
Do you understand? It's less valuable. And then they claim that they are paying new minimum wage of 70,000. 70,000 I cannot buy what 20,000 could buy 5 years ago. For me, it's not there, and they should stop claiming they are giving the governors more money. They are not. It's their constitutional right. If more money goes into the judicial account, there is a revenue allocation formula. So it's not as if the federal government is being benevolent by giving them their money. It's their allocation. It's not a gift. The infrastructure they keep making noise about is neither here nor there. I think, number one, it's exaggeration. Number two, is that really our priority now? They could make noise about this coastal road project, right? You're awarding a contract worth $11 billion. Is that Nigeria's priority? Like, if you look at our fiscal...
they said it would create jobs and stimulate...
How many jobs is it creating? If that money had gone into the $10 billion economic stimulus plans I spoke about, it would create at least 10 million jobs. Let's even say 10 million.
What about MREF? MREF is the Affordable Mortgage Housing Fund that was instituted by the current administration.
How many people have benefited from it?
I know people who have benefited from it. There are people you get to the tune of 100 million naira, you're able to buy a property.
At what interest rate?
Simple interest rate, actually, 9%.
9 point something percent.
Yeah, it's
9%.
simple interest rate. And there are people who have been able to access these funds who, as recently as 2 weeks ago, I know someone who moved into a property, her money was dispensed in June. She started that process this year.
That's good. If they're able to do that, that's good. I'm not aware of anybody benefiting from such. And I mean, if that is possible, if they've done that, then it's commendable.
Now, finally, Mr. Oshobi, before we wrap up, we're in August. Campaigns will start this month. And we've already started seeing branded bags of rice being distributed. It looks like the ruling party has a war chest that is going to unleash, and we're looking at the multi-dimensional poverty levels in the country. So if you can't beat them, they say it's best you join them. Are you going to campaign based on this, on the direction of the ruling party, or what do you plan to do differently? Because Nigerians they're really hungry, and they might gravitate towards, you know, who's sharing more money and funds.
You have like 20 seconds. If you can help us answer in that time.
We're not going to do that. It's against principle. It's not what we stand
Okay,
for.
we'll be on the lookout.
So no sharing of spaghetti.
No, definitely not.
So we'll not see
Nigeria.
Atiku Abubakar's face on top rice. Okay,
No.
we'll wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kunle Oshobi.
We are going to
Keep in
watch,
touch.
and if we see, we'll call you back.
Yes, we
We're
will.
going to break
so much for
now.
having
Let's
me.
share with you what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. Coming up next on Breakfast Central, Cardinal Onaiyekan alleges Tinubu administration bent on retaining power. INEC publishes full list of presidential candidates, peace call renewed, and VP Shettima urges unity, rejects ethnic profiling. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Don't forget, we're streaming live on social media, particularly on YouTube, where you can drop a comment and we'll get to read them. Tell us what other breakfast show does that in the country. None. Well, let's move on to our next story. This morning, fresh concerns have emerged over Nigeria's democratic future following comments by Cardinal Onaiyekan, who has warned that the credibility of the 2027 general elections could be undermined if electoral integrity is not adequately protected. Speaking after a meeting between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, Cardinal Onaiyekan said the bishops presented what they described as the realities confronting many Nigerians, particularly on economy, governance, and national well-being. Bishops were concerned that those around the president may not be presenting a complete picture of conditions across the country.
The Cardinal also expressed concern about the conduct of the 2027 elections, suggesting that the ruling government appears determined to retain power and warning that public confidence in the electoral process must be protected. The presidency, however, has consistently maintained that the Independent National Electoral Commission remains independent and that the administration is committed to strengthening democratic institutions and conducting credible elections. Join us this morning as we discuss this is the publisher of the newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Amaechi, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, Benga. Always my pleasure.
All right. Before we start, permit me, we just want to take a response from the president in part of the meetings, just to highlight some of the things that were said. The cardinal in his presence said they asked the president about the condition or situation of the economy. They also asked about security. They also talked about a lot where the president mentioned that they should hold the sub-nationals responsible, which are the governors, and so much. But let's watch one of the responses that were given while the conversation was had.
The challenges are there. I inherited it. I didn't run away. I asked for this job, and I'm in it. Those who will take it from me will try. They will try. All is fair in politics. And it's equal opportunity. INEC you mentioned are neutral. They've never intimidated anybody. If political opponents are crying wolves, maybe they are afraid of their own shadows and the uncertainty in the companies they keep. Not me. I'm ready to, but I won't give them red carpet. I won't offer them the leash to tie me and rope me. No. We wrestle each other to the finishing point.
All right, that's just one aspect. There are many other parts of the conversation, but let's start off first with the big one. The accusation that has come or counter response to what the bishops went there to do and why Cardinal Onaiyekan should appear before a television interview and talk about what was said in closed doors.
I don't think that encounter took place in secret.
No.
Even before Cardinal Onaiyekan appeared on the television program, snippets of that encounter had been broadcast, and people were aware of what happened. Onaiyekan is a Nigerian, first and foremost. And if he's talking about Nigeria, he's within his right to talk about Nigeria, his country. Now, let's go back to the substance of that encounter. What did Onaiyekan say on the Charles Aniagolo's interview program? He said the Catholic bishops told Mr. President that Nigeria is bleeding and that Nigerians are being crushed by the insufferable weight of an economy that is not friendly at all. Now, what did the president say? That the poor has always been there, even before he was born, and that he didn't create that condition. He also went off on a tangent defending INEC and this ability to conduct free and fair elections. But the one I found most problematic was his claim that all is fair
in politics.
In politics. That is a very, very problematic position for anybody who is in a position of leadership to take. Now, why do I say so? And let me say outright that Mr. President is wrong. You know, this assertion that all is fair in war and love, which, of course, some people have now included all is fair in
politics,
cannot be right. Particularly in a constitutional democracy, as we claim to have. Constitutional democracy is a rules-based enterprise. It is a rules, politics in a constitutional democracy is a rules-based game. There are rules and regulations.
Parameters.
There are yardsticks for measuring credibility, fairness and freeness of election in a constitutional democracy. So for you to say that all is fair, which justifies the Niccolo Machiavelli thesis of the end justifies the means, that is apparently what he's saying. But it is not new. If you had listened to what he said in London in 2003, after appearing at the Chatham House, he said that power is not served a la carte. You grab it and you pick it and you run with it. So that there is, in his own dictionary of politics and the contest for power, there is nothing like freeness. It is survival of the fittest. But it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. Now, Joe, contestation for power anywhere in the world is a serious thing. is a serious thing. I must admit that. But it is, even in its seriousness, there must be standards. When people talk about the power of incumbency, it is because, not because you control the army, you control the police, you control INEC, therefore you can ride roughshod over and against any other person. No. The power of incumbency confers on you the ability so that, for instance, as we are going into campaigns now, when other people are coming with promissory notes, this is what I will do, this is what I will do if you elect me, the power of incumbency confers on you, this is what I have done. Based on this, if you re-elect me...
So you kind of have a comparative advantage.
Exactly. That is what the power of incumbency confers on the president in a democracy. Not to use INEC, not to use police, not to use the military, and all the instruments of coercion to run people out. Now, why is this all is fair in politics very problematic? If all is fair in politics, it would mean then that you try everything you can to run the others out of the contest, which we have seen. All these court cases, deregistration of political parties, registration of political parties, and all that, they are still there. Despite the ruling given by the Court of Appeal last week, there are still some cases in court against the David Mark-led NDC, and that of, ADC, and that of the NDC has also not been trashed. What if all those things fail? Do we now say that all being fair in politics means physical elimination of those who you could not stop from contesting? How far can we stretch that logic that all is fair? And don't forget, why this is particularly dangerous is that we are here in this country when the same rhetoric was also espoused by former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2007 when he said that the election was going to be a do-or-die affair. And we all saw that election in 2007 was a do-or-die affair. In this country, a sitting Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Chief Bolayege, was murdered. Up till now, we've not had closure as per who killed the country's chief law officer.
All right.
In Lagos, Engineer Funshaw Williams was killed prior to the 2007 election. In Rivers State, Chief A.K. Dikebo was killed. In Abuja, Chief Harry Marshall was murdered. All these killings, we have not resolved them. Just last week, or over the weekend, Professor Oloshoyinka advised the president to reopen.
Mr. Amaechi, we'll need you to hold your thoughts for a second. We have to go for this quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up from where you left off with the murders in 2010.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the issues with regards to the presidency, the cardinal. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with Mr. Amaechi, and you were asking questions about certain killings, and you were trying to make reference to something that Mr. Wole Soyinka had asked Mr. President in the course of the past week. So we'd like for you to pick up from there.
Yeah. Professor Wole Soyinka, who is a very good Ebo, to Mr. President, asked him about 3 days ago to and revisit his promise to open or to reopen assassinations and killings, unresolved killings in this country. And these killings may or may not have anything to do with politics. But the mere fact that years after, we've not been able to put closure as per who did what is not a very good sign. So when you say all is fair in politics, it's a slippery slope. Where do you stop? Where do you stop? Because
it makes it a free-for-all.
If all else fails, then what?
How extreme are you willing to go?
Then what? So, look, you know, the Catholic bishops, if there is any institution that I respect, it is the institution of the Catholic Bishops' Conference. These are people who have a reputation of speaking truth to power.
And very consistent.
And they have been very, very consistent. If you remember, of course, he's a very old man now, Cardinal Onaiyekan was a thorn in the flesh of Obasanjo, of everybody. These guys did not go there to ask for oil blocks, as Cardinal Onaiyekan said in that interview. They did not go to ask for contrast. They went to tell the president uncomfortable truth. They spoke truth to power. And what did they say? Nigerians are not having it easy. Nigerians want free and fair election. The country is bleeding. Can we do something about this? I think that's a fair thing to ask from the president. If they don't tax the president, who else will they tax?
So, someone else is talking. Senator Orji Uzor is speaking. He's responding to what other members of the presidency have said. But I want us to take a look at the video of what he said. Maybe we'd have more insight and your reactions to it.
I have two questions for you. One is that what do you think about the Vice President Kashim Shettima's coming back? And also, what do you think about the Catholic Bishop visit to the Mr. President?
Well, I will start with the Catholic Bishop. To me, the Catholic bishops are conscious of the country. And once they give advice, their advice is not for or against. Their advice is just for any sitting president, any sitting leader to see things the way it should be. There's difficulty in Nigeria, there's no doubt, and it's not the fault of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we have been able to capture the microeconomy, and the micro is what we are having problems, as I've always told people. So there's nothing new about the Catholic bishops visiting. They are clergymen who they are conscious of what they speak or what they say. And I support the visit of the Catholic bishops. It promotes the president to work harder, because the Catholic bishops are just telling him the way it is. Even if we politicians can lie to him and say things are good everywhere, the Catholic bishop can never say that. And that is why they are Catholic bishops. And I want to correct one thing. Cardinal Onaiyekan is not the president of Catholic bishops conference, and people are making mistake on that. So I believe whatever is this agreement between the Catholic bishops and the people speaking for the president. It's nothing, because the Catholic bishops just drop what they want to say about the presidency or what they want to say about what they know about the economy. It's left for us who work with President Tinubu to take back to our rooms and analyze what they say and come out with beautiful things that will make Nigerian people to be proud. On Vice President Kashimi Shettima, it's a continuity. There was no need of dropping him, and it could have been suicidal to drop him, and President Tinubu have done the right thing. It has nothing to do with what we are doing. I mean, we are Catholics, we are Christians, and I don't see anything that endangers anybody's life. If economy is good, this is why I have been telling the government to focus on economy. This economy was dead. It just resuscitated by the president. So let us not deceive ourselves. So I'm not even going to go there. What I know, presidents have taken good decision in returning his vice president to Nigeria. And I want to thank the president and thank the National Security Advisor, Alhaji Nuhu Ribadu, for what they are doing on the...
Okay, all right. There you have Senator Kalu there saying it's not the president's fault. They've been able to sort the macroeconomics. It's just the micro that they're working on. And then he talks about the cardinal speaking truth to power, that they will be there to help him. I mean, what's your take on his response compared to what we saw from the SSA and the other spokesperson of the president, who decided to add Peter Obi to the entire conversation?
I don't take Daniel Boala not to show that I want to waste my time talking about somebody who does not make sense. Talk. Unfortunately, he sees himself as the best thing that has happened to public communication in Nigeria. The truth of the matter is that he is not. How do you go out there attacking Onaiyekan? What did Onaiyekan say? Just like Senator Okalo said now, these are people who act as the conscience of the country. Cardinal Onaiyekan is not the president of the Bishops' Conference. And if you watch that interview, Onaiyekan said that even the statement that was written, yes, it was read by the president, but it was a collective thing. The bishops made contributions and finalized and agreed that this is what we have to say. And the bishops are not from the north alone, neither are they from the southeast. Because if it was Southeast Bishops' Conference now, they say, they are sympathizers of one person or the other. There are Catholic bishops from the southwest. This is Catholic bishops of Nigeria. And what they went to tell Mr. President, you are the man on the saddle. The primary responsibility of every government is the welfare and security of the people. Nigeria is bleeding. The economy is not smiling on Nigerians. Even, yes, the macroeconomic side of the whole thing, which is what the government loves touting. The GDP is growing, debt to GDP is manageable. Our foreign reserves is over $50 billion. Fine, nobody is arguing that. But there is nobody who wants to tell himself the truth that will answer in the affirmative that his life is better today than it was before Tinubu came to power on May 29, 2023. The Economist has simply thrown people. Even the Bretton Woods institution, IMF, that the government loves to brandish their statistics or their approval of the reforms, told us that 63 million Nigerians are living below national poverty line right now. So, how many Nigerians? They say they are creating jobs. Where are those jobs? How many industries have closed down since 2023 in Nigeria? Can they give us the statistics of those foreign direct investments that they are touting, other than promissory notes? The president will go to Brazil. They are bringing in 2 billion. Where is it? He will go to Saudi Arabia. They have promised him. Where are those investments? Can Nigerians see those investments? Nigerians, are they, the average Nigerian, is his purchasing power better today than it was 3 years ago? Can he comfortably pay his house rent today? Is he buying fuel? If you talk, they will tell you the crisis in the Middle East. But before that crisis,
880 naira, 900. Yeah.
We were buying fuel at much more higher cost than it was before he came into office. But okay, you say you are making so much more. Agreed. What are you doing with the money? You say that you are giving state governors. Are you dashing them money? This idea that when you are the president, there is no difference between private and public purse. It can only happen in Nigeria. The revenue allocation that we have streamlines. The federal government gets a certain percentage. The state governments get, and the local governments. So if the state governments are getting much more money, and by the way, this much more money is only in naira value. When you convert it to dollar value, even with what they are getting now that we are saying is much more, may not compare favorably with what they were getting in 2023, when the value of the dollar was about 300, 400 naira to a dollar, unlike now that it is 1,300 to 1,400. So it has doubled. How many percentage? So even the much more money they are getting. But if they are getting that, it then means the revenue has increased. So the question is, what are you doing with that increased revenue? Is it commensurate with the development we have on ground? How much money have you borrowed since 2023? Are we getting commensurate infrastructural development with the money that you have borrowed? Yes, the poor will always be with us. But why people go into government is to make life better for the people. And if you cannot make the life of Nigerians better, why are you there? You are there for the perks of office, you are getting richer, your people are getting richer, everybody around you they are all smiling. The average Nigerian has nothing to show for it. We have literally wiped out the middle class. It's either you are super rich, you are there, or you are poor. And the people who drive the economy, who buy, who go to supermarkets, who do this, who do that, are those in the middle class. If their purchasing power has dwindled so much that people could no longer afford not even 1 square meal a day, not to talk of 3 square meals. You pride yourself that you've increased minimum wage to 70 naira.
70,000, yeah.
70,000 naira. What is 70,000 naira? When you go to a filling station,
85, 90, 100 to fill a tank.
You spend that much to fill your tank. And if you, for instance, if you are living in Ikorodu and you are working on the island, that full tank cannot even take you for 2-3 days. I was in Aja on Saturday to see a friend. Before going, I went into a filling station and bought fuel of 40,000 naira. By the time I went to Aja and came back, it was gone. So how can a man on 70,000 naira minimum wage survive? What is 70,000 naira minimum wage? And you know, these guys are so, you can't govern a country with propaganda.
Now, Mr. Amaechi, let's talk about another conversation that was had in that meeting with the Catholic bishops. One of the central concerns of the bishops was public confidence in the electoral process, and they said it must be connected. And then Mr. President went on to talk about, you know, how independent INEC is. I guess he has a right to a certain extent, because he appointed the chairman of INEC and must have looked at his credentials. But my question to you is, how would you assess the current level of public trust in Nigeria's electoral system? And would you also give a vote of confidence to INEC in the way and manner Mr. President has?
If the president is honest to himself, he will know that there is a terrible trust deficit. Nigerians don't trust the Independent National Electoral Commission right now. And this trust deficit did not exist in a vacuum. Look, this government, more than any other since 1999, has appointed card-carrying members of APC as resident electoral commissioners, appointed them into INEC. If you remember, during the Edo governorship election, there were issues raised about the Edo State Resident Electoral Commission at hand. There were petitions in the National Assembly when these people were being screened, pointing out that some of these people are not only sympathizers of a particular political party, they are card-carrying members, which is against the law. Now, INEC is only independent in name. I don't think there's anybody who is going to doubt the fact that the INEC chairman is beholden to the man who appointed him. To be fair, it did not only start with the Tinubu presidency, except perhaps for Atahiru Jega, who was not beholden, so to say, to the man who appointed him, President Goodluck Jonathan. All the INEC chairmen we've had since 1999 act on the whims and caprices of those who appointed them. It has not changed. If anything, it is even worse now. Now, the mere fact, it is not in the place of the president to defend INEC, to tell us how credible INEC is. He's not the spokesperson for INEC. And the mere fact that the president took it upon himself to say that INEC delivers free, fair, credible elections, to pass a vote of confidence on INEC, makes it, for crying out loud, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, apart from being the president, which he is a candidate in this election. And he does not have more rights than any other candidate because he is a candidate in an election. So he should not be seen intimidating.
But some will argue with you that that's politics. I'm talking about INEC.
No, Joe, it is not politics. We must be able to separate what we call the politics with, look, there must be a playing ground that is free, fair to everybody. That cannot be politics, because if you say it is politics, or some people say it is politics, it goes back to the same thing Mr. President said, that all is fair in politics. All cannot be fair in politics. Politics in a constitutional democracy, I repeat, has rules, has regulations. This is why you do so and so. You do so and so. And the only people that have the right in a constitutional democracy to confer legitimacy on who governs them are the people. It is the votes of the people that should decide and determine who gets elected. Anything other than that makes what we are doing or practicing to be anything other than a democracy. So that cannot be politics by any stretch of the imagination. No, politics is not a elections cannot be a do or die affair. Go to the people and present, this is what I want to do, or this is what I have done. Every other person does that. Then let the people decide who governs them or whose promises will benefit them more. I have said here, democracy does not guarantee that who wins the election will be the best person. No. But what it guarantees is that the votes of the people determine who governs. Okay. And if 4 years down the road, they found out that, perhaps we made a mistake, then they have the right to change. Right. That is what makes democracy democracy. And that's what differentiates it from every other form of government. That is why it is said that it is the best form of, even with its limitations, it's still better than autocracy, it's still better than all other forms of government. We can't be practicing and preaching autocracy when we claim that we are in a democracy, which is what this government is doing. And anybody who comes out to say no, they go after him. You can't intimidate 200 and something million Nigerians because they were magnanimous enough to give you power 3 years ago.
I mean, we hope that this will stand, what you've said in terms of Nigerians being able to decide who they want to govern them, not being swayed by branded bags of rice and the likes. Mr. Amaechi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Amaechi. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Now, let's tell you that the Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, has called for a renewed national covenant on peace, urging citizens to reject ethnic profiling, religious hatred, misinformation, and retaliatory violence. The Vice President made the appeal in Jos during the 80th birthday celebration of former Governor of Plateau State, Jonah Jang. He reaffirmed the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to security and inclusivity, stressing that peace remains the foundation for economic growth and national development.
As Martin Luther King rightly said, let us learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. What binds us together surpasses forever that divides us. I ask you, I beseech you, I implore on you, please, let us learn to forgive one another. Let us learn to eschew violence.
My life is more than a personal memoir. It's a contribution to our national history. It reminds us that leadership requires courage, patience, resilience, and faith. I happen to be lucky to have glanced through the manuscript, and when you open the book, you will know that.
You stand for unity, you stand for progress, you stand for dignity of humanity. Today I celebrate you. We celebrate you. Plateau celebrate you.
Over the years, many assumptions have been made about me, my decisions, and my actions. Some have been based on incomplete information, while others have unfortunately created misconceptions and controversies that continue even while I'm still alive. Like many who have served in public office, I have often found myself misunderstood. This book is not written to settle scores or attack anyone. Rather, it is an honest effort to place events in their proper context.
Well, very interesting one there. Let's also tell you that Nigeria and Saudi Arabia are strengthening bilateral relations with renewed efforts to boost investment and expand economic cooperation across key sectors of the economy. Now, speaking to journalists in Abuja, officials say discussions focus on broadening collaboration beyond housing to include infrastructure, agriculture, mining, renewable energy, tourism, human capital development, and private sector investment. They added that the partnership aims to attract investment, drive sustainable development, and reinforce the long-standing ties between both countries.
There are long-standing diplomatic, cultural, and socio-economic ties. However, as global markets evolve, the need to transition these historical bonds into structured, high-yield economic partnerships has never been more urgent. From large-scale real estate and agricultural infrastructure to tech transfers, trade, and tourism, the horizon of opportunity between our markets is vast. We seek to open honest pathways of communication, dispel investment myths, and showcase the dynamic economic potential shared between our two great nations.
We are looking at energy in terms of oil, gas, and renewables. We are looking at agriculture in terms of agro-allied industries and food security. We are also looking at tourism, especially in the area of hospitality and travels. We will also be looking at healthcare in terms of medical services and pharmaceuticals.
It is a comprehensive international platform designed to connect governments, investors, business leaders, entrepreneurship, and institutions to build a significant partnership and unlock new opportunity for trade, investment, tourism, and economic development.
Very interesting story there. As Nigeria continues to grapple with a growing population of internally displaced persons, the federal government, in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria and other development partners, have agreed to advance the humanitarian development peace nexus to promote long-term solutions beyond emergency relief. The event, which took place in Abuja, brought together key actors across the humanitarian development and peace sectors to deepen collaboration and develop lasting solutions that empower internally displaced persons to become self-reliant through skills acquisition and sustainable livelihoods. Stakeholders say that the initiative is expected to reduce dependency on humanitarian assistance while promoting sustainable recovery and lasting peace in affected communities.
Today we have not less than 6.7 Nigerians that were displaced. Some of them are living in camps and some are living in the communities. Let us try to innovate. Let us try to move forward. Let's see how we can train these individuals. Let's see how we can teach them themselves to fend for themselves.
The humanitarian development peace nexus therefore provide an opportunity to move beyond fragmented responses towards integrated planning, coordinated investment, and collective outcome, and reduce humanitarian needs while strengthening resilience and promoting sustainable development.
What Action is going to do is what we have started by not just taking this as a strategy that is just ours alone, but centering it within what government has also planned and to ensure that government is held accountable. So what Action Aid is going to do is to continue to work with the government and critical actors, other critical actors, just like the people you've seen in the room, to ensure that the plans that has been identified, collectively identified by the government and the people is going to be put into action.
We want to see our national government playing more active roles. We want to see our national government contributing, having budgetary allocations for coordination, for relief services and relief interventions, targeting IDPs, but more also seeing that there is coherence and there is working together.
This segment is brought to you by Zenith Bank.
Of course, every Monday, you know that we look into Africa's financial landscape with different topical issues that will affect you and your decisions, especially the one you're going to make this week, starting today on a Monday. But let's tell you that Africa's financial landscape is undergoing a major transformation as fintech continues to reshape how millions of people access and use financial services. From mobile money and digital wallets to digital lending, cross-border payments and embedded finance technology helps bridge long-standing gaps in financial inclusion, particularly for undeserved communities. Well, let's tell you that today, Africa is home to one of the world's fastest growing fintech ecosystems, with countries such as Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt leading the charge. But as innovation accelerates, so do the challenges. Concerns around cybersecurity, fraud, regulation, issues here and there, and consumer protection continue to test the resilience of the sector, with governments pushing for greater financial inclusion and investors maintaining strong interest in African fintech. The question is no longer whether digital finance will actually shape the future, but how the continent can actually sustain innovation while ensuring trust, security, and inclusive growth. Well, we'll be having a guest join us this Monday morning to unpack all of the challenges surrounding fintech, plus how it affects you when you use it and how you plan to also build a future around it. But our guests will be joining us pretty much soon. For us here in the studio, it's all about looking at it from our personal lives and what it's been like. So it's a question to you this morning. Absolutely. Are you actually enjoying what fintech has done, especially to every single business?
Before we get into the details of our guests, this is just to give you an overview of the state of play when it comes to Nigeria's fintech sector. It's a booming digital economy engine driven by mobile penetration. There's a young population, massive real-time payment volumes. Key pillars include dominant digital payments, active micro-lending, and evolving regulations. We're actually a fintech giant in Africa, and across the world, this is one of the few areas where Nigeria is a major player and we're thriving. Instant payments. And some of the core market pillars, the payments and infrastructure that we have real-time processing. You send money and you receive it in the next second. There are countries around the world, developed countries, that don't even have this sort of speed. So it's one positive thing to be proud of that we're doing. We also have agent networks, bank agents bridging the rural, urban, cash to digital gaps. Some of these fintechs also offer savings and credit.
Well, that's true, Benga. And so far, so good. It seems like everyone is talking about fintech now. If you look at the aspect of, especially, would say the informal sector.
I mean, almost everyone has a digital bank.
Yeah.
And
the
they've
informal
really helped.
sector.
I think the dream, would I say the dream or the desire of, at the time, President Bola, no, it wasn't President Bola, I meant President Muhammadu Buhari, at the time when he and Godwin Emefiele were trying to move swiftly into the cashless economy. They were trying to ensure that majority of the monies outside were brought back into the vault of the banks. Fintechs have helped actualize that. A number of these people in underserved communities that will typically not even want to open a bank account, that put money in their boxes, their colo, their local piggy banks at home, you know, the ones who will keep it in their bra or hide it under their mattress, now have certain accounts, you know them, that are easily accessible, that they can open a bank account with their mobile phone. In 5 minutes, they'll open an account, they'll make a transfer. There are certain fintech banks that almost everyone in the informal sector has an account. So the rise of fintechs have become, and even the traditional banks now even are exploring fintech as well.
Absolutely.
Because they've realized that there's a huge market there that they are penetrating, that the regular banks, you know, may have a bit of difficulty accessing. So we can't underestimate the importance of Africa's fintech industry doing incredibly well. And kudos to all the players within the ecosystem who continue to develop it. I
mean, permit me to go back in time. Let me just tell this story. I recall in 2000 and I think it was about 2004 or 2005, I was working at a radio station then, and I needed to open an account. And I walked up to a bank and I said, listen, I need to open an account. And they said, oh, sorry, you can only open any account, particularly a savings account, but you must start off with 100,000 naira.
Minimum.
Minimum. My salary then was 20,000 naira.
I remember.
It was 20,000 naira. And I said, so you mean if I don't have 100,000 naira, I won't be able to open an account? They said, no, we're so sorry. You know, we are this, we're that.
Is the bank still in existence?
You know, apparently the bank is still in existence. Okay. So I walked up to another bank, which happens not to be in existence now because they morphed into another bank, which got them over. They were acquired. And they told me, okay, that's fine. We can open an account for you. Now, coming now to reality, no bank, except you're going for private banking, you know, and so on, or investment banking. Most, how do you see a bank that will tell you, oh, you know what, you must have at least a minimum of 100,000 naira? Not really, because that's another thing, that's another gap.
They're happy to onboard.
Fintech has been, I mean, let's mention the names of MoneyPoint, OPay, Flutterwave, PalmPay, you name them. The list goes on and on. They've been able to breach that gap to see that, listen, especially the underserved, or better so you can call them the informal sector. Today you have the Okada riders, the market women, you buy things. Even on weekend, I was able to buy suya. And then the suya guy says, I said, I don't have cash. But let me say, no, I don't even want, he told me, I don't even want cash. I was like, oh, really? He said, yes. So you do a transfer. The impact on the economy has been awesome, whether we like it or not. And that's exactly what developing economies are looking into. If you look back from the Visa to the PayPals and the likes, when they started off too, they looked at ensuring that economies of these Western world or communities will thrive. And that's what we're enjoying.
And also, there's there's the wealth creation and jobs aspect, because 90% of Nigerians are employed in the SME sector, and it's been a blessing for them. And not just the fact that they can hold money as a store of value, they also have different sorts of programs and products that they offer to the populace, SMEs, loans, for example, investment opportunities, and all of that. So it's a booming industry, and I can't wait to have our experts tell us what the trends are, what the future is looking like, and if some of us can also play in that industry, because I mean, more money is.
I agree. And the sky is big, whether we like it or not. But we've looked at account opening. Another thing I think we should look at when it comes to fintech as well on a Monday morning is the fact that it eliminates physical presence. I remember back in the days, I still used to have it, the withdrawal booklet.
Yeah.
The withdrawal booklet.
It feels like a whole.
Oh my goodness! Whether it was check, have you noticed people don't read checks? Still exist, but you know. So I used to have this savings withdrawal booklet at the back of my pocket. So I have to go to the bank, you know, or you quickly remember you need to tear a sheet and then quickly fill it up just to ensure and write down the amount. You go there, you sign twice. I mean, pretty much these days, just with the comfort of your mobile device, it depends on wherever you want to be in the world. You can simply just do a transfer, do a credit, and do whatever you need to do. That's the power that we're enjoying. And because of that seamless operation, we've seen many who have embraced it. But coincidentally, one question I'd like to ask the professionals in this field is, what is the percentage looking like for those who still do not believe in exploring the fintech banking system? Because you still have people who tell you,
believe in digital
I don't really
payments,
because they've been scammed by the MMMs and so on. So they still have that reservation.
I mean, it's great that you asked that, but also to talk about like the strength of it all. And I want us to talk about challenges, but in the strength, I want to make a reference to Kenya. And Kenya's, before M-Pesa, one of Kenya's experiences was that less than 1/3 of them, less than 1/3 of the country had access to formal banking. But because of this digital banking, you can see that there are more people involved. But let's talk about some of the challenges that they've had to face. One of it would be funding. And a number of us know fintech startups that started out well, but didn't end well. So it would seem that a number of them get early stage funding, but do not get sufficient later stage funding when they win to sort of scale up bigger. And there's so many opportunities in the fintech space. There's also the concerns about, protection, consumer protection within fintech and, cybersecurity. But we are not the experts. We're going to be joined by an expert to analyze this. And if you do have questions about this, head to YouTube where we're streaming News Central TV live to drop your comments and your questions. We're going to break, and when we come back, we're looking deeper into these conversations, so please stay with us. We're now joined by a tech analyst, Fisayo Durojaiye, who would help us expand on the role that fintechs have played in Nigeria's financial ecosystem. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Before the conversation, of course, we had talked about here in Nigeria, and then I did make reference to Kenya and seeing how, before the advent of M-Pesa, for example, arguments were that less than 1/3 had access to Kenya's formal financial sector.
Yes.
What is the picture like in Nigeria for us? And is financial inclusivity still a challenge, or financial inclusion?
Okay, that's a tough question. Why? Because I think that the way Nigeria has gone about digital transactions and, of course, financial inclusion has been remarkably different from what Kenya has experienced. And, of course, I think that everyone, especially because financial services is being regulated by the central bank, they need to figure out, okay, how do we want inclusion to happen? Is it via telcos or is it via the banks? So the CBN, at least in Nigeria, has taken a different approach from what happened in Kenya, which, of course, Safaricom or Airtel, you see Airtel Money, Safaricom is one, the owner of M-Pesa, for instance, is a telco similar to, as big as, well, much bigger than MTN, right? So they led that financial inclusion drive in Kenya because there is a lot more mobile
money.
Well, no, mobile density, meaning that more people have mobile phone numbers And that allows them to convert their mobile phone numbers to a digital financial wallet that allows them to make transactions. So that's how M-Pesa works. But Nigeria has taken a different approach to say, no, telcos cannot lead financial services because they are not banks. So banks have to lead that financial services drive, which is why we are not seeing, the adoption as such of, say, MTN, Momo in Nigeria, because again, that job is led entirely by banks, and of course, which is why you're also seeing, this conflict around. Okay, even have to use your mobile star something to do your banking transaction. The telcos, well, you're not allowing us to do it directly, so you're going to pay us for every digital transaction. So there's that real conflict happening between banks and telcos regarding who is going to drive that financial transactions. And of course, I think the way Nigeria has gone about it, it had opened doors to, in quotes, fintechs to try and take position where banks feel they are not particularly interested. So, for instance, if you look at the accounts of, say, one of the biggest banks, again, I'm not sure I can mention names, you see that a lot of them have 80-90% of their deposits from retail, but their earnings are from large corporates, meaning loans they give to large corporates. So they're not particularly interested in all these micro transactions as they were, which is why you see fintechs, money points, OPay, all these people trying to get into that space by ensuring that, yes, we have, in quote, lower cost, and of course we're able to provide those services to the most remote areas across the country. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like we rightly said before you came in, that opening accounts have become so easy for Nigerians.
Yeah.
Especially people from the informal sector. But we also understand that there seems to be a pushback. For some, they still don't believe in the fintech because of, maybe being scarred by the MMMs and the likes.
Yeah.
Do we still have a good number of people, persons, companies who still resent the fintech or participating or partaking, having accounts and so on? Does it still exist?
I think people are cautious. That's what I see. So this is what happens. You're driving. Okay, so coming in today, I used a ride-hailing app. Of course, on my way, I noticed that my card was not. I didn't put my card on this particular app. It's on the other app, but it's not on this particular app. And as I was coming, I was like, okay, I have to ask the driver, do you have I asked a real bank account? That's me, meaning typical commercial bank. Said yes, he has one of them. So I had to transfer to him, using the app. What I've noticed is that many people use fintechs for collection, and then at night they wipe the money to a real bank.
Why?
Trust. Again, it's a trust issue, right? Some of these banks have been here before I was born. Right? They're not going anywhere. People just trust and believe that these ones are not going anywhere. In fact, I spoke to someone who runs a business on Instagram. It was like, Fisayo, it's not just a phone number. I said, no, it's not a phone, it's a bank account. Yeah, but it's my phone number that they're using for the bank account. I say, yes, so it's not a real bank account. So the fact that the account number is your phone number is easy to remember is now
a problem. Why must things be hard for us? It's like if it's too easy, we're questioning it.
So they'll use it for collection during the day, but at night, like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, you've done your work. Let's move back to work.
Let's move back.
But are these fears actually valid?
I mean, some of these fintechs, they have insurance with NDIC.
In fact, all of them that are fintechs today, again, CBN is strict with compliance. Most of them are microfinance banks. They are regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, right? They have NDIC insurance, like you said. So the fear, I guess it's just people need to get used to it.
It's being Nigerian.
I was talking to someone that had built a large microfinance bank in Nigeria. I was like, the biggest thing about a microfinance bank is that you have to stay long enough that people will grow to trust you. And I think that's the journey that many fintechs are on right now. They have to learn to stay the course even when people are not trusting them right now, and build that relationship over the years to become that trusted name. That yes, you don't have to have a physical branch to be safe and reliable, as it were.
Are we also seeing more typical formal financial institutions, banks, delving into the fintech space? And how is that faring?
Oh, yes. I mean, because these banks have learned, to be efficient, to be resilient, to be profitable. Again, there's an article I was meant to write, but I've not published it in a while. Looking at the GTBank's number, for instance, they have about 30% cost-to-income ratio. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous means great, right? Because for every 1 naira they earn in revenue, their total cost is less than 30 kobo. About 29 kobo, right? So they've learned to be efficient. And of course, when they notice that these fintechs, they're not interested in, they are initially not interested in microtransactions. Who has time for that? They saw that, people have built billion-dollar businesses on POSs. Like, okay, maybe there's something here. They thought, okay, no problem. We're going to spin off our own fintech, subsidiary. So you see GTBank do Habari, you see Access Bank do Hydrogen, you see, UBA, all of them then start, rolling out if you want. But remarkably, we need to also recognize that some of the earliest ones are actually done by commercial banks. So think, for example, Alert by Wema Bank. It's probably one of the earliest, in quote, digital banks. Of course, struggled because they were that thing around digital transformation from within a large corporate was tough because they were still linking it to the bank account and was not as seamless as these fintechs are. But of course, I think they found their footing, and of course, they're building big businesses there as well.
So what's the current state of play? Where are we in terms of digital payment, looking at Africa and the rest of the world, the Nigerian space? And is it saturated? Is it time to look at something else? Because you have a number of these apps that they're basically doing the same thing that other people are doing. So is it not time to move on to other things like creating apps that can fix our potholes and share rice?
Well, so I think that, and of course, there was an app that could share rice some election cycles ago. Anyways, but that's a separate one. Anyways.
Wow. The spirit of
So again, if I look at the evolution of these things, right, I remember, again, many years ago, maybe 2015, 2016, when people like Konga, Jumia were trying to build e-commerce, because payment was a problem. So they had to then build their own payment apps. And of course, logistics spawned from there. So I guess that's where payments, digital payments not really started from, but again, started becoming mainstream. People started putting their card details online to start doing that. Once payments to that level, digital web payments was more or less addressed by both maybe Paystack, Flutterwave. Of course, you see many fintechs, something pay, that pay, this pay, in this period. Once digital payment was more or less addressed, it moved into maybe lending. People say, because I can collect my money back digitally, I can lend to you. And because someone can lend to you, I can then collect deposit as savings. So you start seeing lending apps. Everybody started doing, this one lend. Everybody was lending. Then, of course, it became savings. Everybody started doing, savings. Then it started moving, up until essentially what we have today. I think what we're seeing today is that many people are trying to address the problem of remittance, right? And of course, you see even Flutterwave, everyone is trying to build that big remittance business, because again, money moving into Nigeria because of the Ikechukwu syndrome that went. So many people have traveled abroad to Canada, to the UK, and of course to the US mostly, and of course have to send money back home, and they need to find a way to ensure that they do that very safely. So we've seen the evolution of fintech across all of those drives. Have we solved the problem entirely? I don't think so. I think that until my grandmother can essentially do a digital transaction, I don't think that problem.
But I mean, there's some grandmoms that are doing it.
There are a few grandmoms in Lagos that can do. But again, you have to.
I mean, if you have the vulcanizer who can actually tell you, I can do this. I don't need your cash. Put it here. Even in traffic now, and then what I would like you to know, fintech has also created jobs. Because you now have the POS operators who are seated and they're exchanging. I mean, we wouldn't say they are the reason why our ATMs are not.
Well, we can blame them, right? We can, to a large extent.
So is there like a behind-the-scene
fight?
Because the other day, my sister went to 8 different ATMs trying to withdraw money. 8. She couldn't. Yeah. At the point, it was as if they almost blocked my card. And then she had to use POS eventually.
I've actually seen rats dancing around the ATMs. Like, okay, you guys are no longer working.
So again, you see these things that you go to the bank. Even one of the bigger banks today, I think, limits how much you can use your card on ATM. But they don't limit how much you can use on POS.
Yes.
Which, again, is strange. Because the truth is this: the POS, understanding the economics of ATMs is hard. You have to keep it powered, keep it on, and of course there are a lot of people behind. So when you put in your card, someone has to be managing the cash, putting the cash in there.
Yeah.
So it's quite expensive, right? And of course, because Nigeria is low wage payments, it's cheaper to have a full human being seated under an umbrella than to have a digital version of a full human being. I guess that's where the real problems start to sit. And of course, people that don't want to just do POS transactions and want cash transactions with POSs, with ATMs, are struggling to see that happen.
Okay, let's talk about what else you think fintechs in Nigeria are struggling with. I did mention earlier that a number of them these days, because fintech seems to be the buzzword or the buzz thing, they get initial funding, but there isn't much later stage funding. Can you speak to us about some of the challenges that you think is bedeviling the sector?
You see that, if you notice, again, I remember when I started this journey, I think in 2017, especially the venture capital side of things, when a founder pitches to me, like, yeah, we want to disrupt, that's the word they use. Want to disrupt, banking as we know it. So everywhere it was disruption. But I think that the language has seemed to have changed more recently because
there's more collaboration.
It's more collaborative now, right? So it's hard to disrupt an industry that's been there for years, right? That have shaped banking. The bank MDs have always been in code, CBN governors since, at least in more recent years, since maybe Charles Soludo, what's it called? The Emir of Kano, the last one was once MD of Zenith Bank. The current one was the MD of Citibank. So banks have always led, driven regulation. So it's hard to just show up and say, yeah, I have this bright idea. I can build this beautiful app. So therefore, I'm going to disrupt the entire banking sector. It's not going to happen. And of course, people don't.
But are regulators stifling innovation?
I think we have to balance regulation, innovation, and risk management. And I think that's where the tension really is. So I wouldn't think that they are stifling
They're being
innovation.
responsible.
They are being responsible. You can't just, start. In fact, today, if you look at most of your cards, they are NFC enabled, meaning that, you can just tap your card. But no one has more or less implemented it yet.
So, I went to the car wash the other day and I said, I didn't put my PIN. How did you charge me?
Yeah.
And he pointed to the NFC thing on my card and showed me. I didn't know.
So for smaller transactions, yes.
Benga, can we go back to that car wash again so I can use your card to wash my car?
So it's that tension between just being responsible and leading innovation. And of course, NFC is not new innovation. People have been
it's not. It's in America.
So it's being used
around the world.
But when Nigeria was building its own card, we said we want to do chip and PIN. It is important to us.
Where are we in terms of wearables? Because these days, I heard you can use swipe rings.
You've not done swap. And
people will now come. People will just come. The Agbero will just come here.
And have your phone, right? Again, I think we're going to be there cautiously because banks are the one leading essentially this charge. They are more risk averse compared to say fintech, and of course I think the CBN is also very. I think the first thing is to say, how do I ensure that depositors' money is not lost, right? And of course that's the core, one of their core things. Before we think about any innovative thing, you have to think about the safety and security of the systems first. And I guess that's why these regulators essentially...
So we don't have lawsuits upon lawsuits and so on.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us.
So
it's been a fantastic one.
Always a pleasure.
So good. A lot to talk about fintech. What I like, I love fintech any day, anytime, and I hope to get in there someday.
I always feel inspired when we talk to tech bros and Texas.
Yeah. Who's the Texas here?
Olive.
Yeah, right.
Does have a digital wallet.
That makes her Texas.
I can run business on WhatsApp. I'm in Texas.
Yeah, and she has Instagram. She's also a Facebook. She's a WhatsApp CEO. She does. She sells bed sheets from time to time.
Wow.
Okay. Digital entrepreneurship.
All of that is a big line. But maybe that's a business angle I should explore. We're going to break now. We'll come back and conversations continue this morning, so please stay with us.
This segment was brought to you by Zenith Bank.
It's been an eventful day, I can say. A lot to talk about. Time for us to look at the front pages of the newspapers very quickly. Because of time, let's start off with our very first paper. The Punch newspaper is where we're going to first. Let's have the Punch on the screen. And on the Punch newspaper, federal government bars ministries from awarding unfunded contracts. Treasury tightens rules to curb abandoned projects, unpaid liabilities, fiscal indiscipline. Question is, why now?
They are working.
Now.
Federal government is working.
Now. MDA's accounting officers face ICPC action for approving unfunded projects. Sounds very interesting. Maybe that Ministry of Agriculture, you know.
That.
BPP to reject no objection request without proof of available funds. Abandoned projects. Very interesting one. Power Tussle rocks Obi Kwankwaso campaign teams. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That should be a conversation we're having tomorrow. It's been proven.
We had a discussion.
You guys spoke about it last week on Friday. So what was it? What was it about?
They said it's not the party per se, but it's the,
but it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Even in families, we have fights.
They do usually have to fight.
Yeah, even on Breakfast Central.
Peter and Paul, Peace Square.
Even on Breakfast Central.
You do fight to Benga.
No, I don't
Olive was
fight.
lying to the public that you went for maternity leave.
Yes, you see, that's what caused the fight.
Can we still have the front page of the Punch newspaper up, please?
Nigeria earns 24 trillion naira from crude exports in 6 months.
That's
Nigeria earns 24 trillion.
It's a lot of money.
Wow, that should reduce the borrowings, I believe. That's a good one.
And top right corner, I mean, how can you earn this sort of money and then you are still having non-functional primary healthcare centers? The irony.
Okay, let's move away from the Punch if we are done to... no,
we have one more. We're not done.
How can I not take the bottom story?
We're not done.
Speeding driver killed in Lagos road crash.
Yes.
Joe, please, we need to be more careful. We need to be more careful.
We're approaching the Ember month. I don't believe in
exactly.
I mean, people die every time, and you need to observe road safety rules all the time. You shouldn't wait for Ember month before you're conscious. Speeding kills, especially that Lekki where Express Road. There's so many accidents that have been recorded, and I think the road safety corps and Nigerian police should actually. Nigeria seems to be one of the countries in the world, few countries in the world, where they're very lax with their non-alcohol policy. People drinking and drive.
Yeah,
I've never seen people conduct. I've never seen the road safety conduct the breathalyzer test.
People that they themselves, if they do breathalyzer, they will fail.
So I saw a picture of a police officer collecting Hennessy from a passenger. So I'm not surprised. We really need to look into it. Drinking and driving does cost a lot of
especially where
we don't know what
where
this
are we
one
with the
is. We don't know
sachet?
if that is
I'm just saying.
But where are we with the sachet?
They've started enforcement, but somebody up at NAFDAC office is now sensible enough to go and picket the factories where these people are where they produce this sachet alcohol drinks instead of just motor park raids and all of that. I mean, it's all complimentary, but if they're serious about it, they should go to the source.
Okay, I think
we'll go to the next paper now.
We do have the next paper. Let's move to the next paper as we're almost out of time today. Let's move to the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, 2027, eminent Nigerians float G100 to push for single presidential candidate. This is a conversation we should have as a top story. Let's have the pros and the cons and ask our...
Who would agree? Who would step down?
Let me read the other. Say to convene National Council of Opposition Leaders in 2 weeks. Unveil doctrine of necessary democratic opposition. They want Atiku, Obi, Makinde, others to unite. Atiku and Obi and Makinde, LMAO.
Do you think this news will make the ruling party kind of jittery?
No, of course not. Because
why? Because they think it can happen.
People are not going to unite. It's very, very...
Don't forget they had a summit in Ibadan, opposition political summit a while back. And, I mean, if they can pull this off, it would be a major move. But at this point, it sounds advisory. because people have spent millions and billions to emerge as candidates of these political parties, just for you to now shelve your ambition.
Okay, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, the stories here. We have Nigeria's domestic petrol supply rises to 78.6% from 38.9% in 2025, according to a report. Troops rescue 34 kidnapped victims, arrest ISWAP informants, and recover.
Good news, good news. Kudos to the men and women of Nigerian armed forces.
I think we need to celebrate our armed members of the armed forces whenever there is a news like this. The same way we would criticize and we lament when there's been a kidnap. We must applaud when there's been a rescue and an arrest.
I must also celebrate and also applaud the military and also the presidency. It seems basically like the new review of Benga of expanding the command,
increasing the
numbers and so on. It has been met with mixed reactions regardless, but pretty much seems like, I mean, I think it's a way to go, because if you say that the ones we have currently
are inadequate,
or they are not just being inadequate, they are going through a lot of, they are outstretched.
Yeah, because some stay on tour for more than the required months.
So I think well done. Kudos to the presidency. I believe we'll get to hear more success stories.
Okay.
If only.
Still on the front page of the Tribune, I would like to take Olive's opinion on this bottom right corner.
I knew you were.
Obasanjo urges church to confront insecurity, poverty with militant faith. Whose responsibility is it?
All right. So, Benga, in response to that, just to give a bit of a background, he urged the church to, he said, if we have, I'm going to quote him, he said, if we have a militant church on earth and in Nigeria, it would have been a different situation for us in this country. He described the convention theme drawn from 1 Timothy 6:12 as a call to action for Christians to contribute positively to society. The convention was for a church. The convention theme is a challenge to us all. We have something to do and a contribution to make to the world as God has created it. So, militant faith is aggressive faith. It is zealous faith. It is, one that is, active in service. It's not associated with violence, the context in which this is used. And I understand where he's coming from. The church does have a role to uphold righteousness, to speak up against injustice, to help the poor. That is part of our call, and I know
that's part of what the Catholic bishops were doing.
Yes.
Catholic bishops were doing.
If you go back to how it was in the days of old, even in the days of the Bible.
The days of yore.
There was a looking out that they did for one another in the Bible. Those who had life, harder than the others. And then, I don't think that that's such a terrible call, to be fair. But let's see some other top stories. Benga Hashim urges Accord supporters, stakeholders to close ranks, vote for Adeleke. That's in Osun State. And scientists develop pill that stops measles-like virus spreading. Good news. And now let's move to The Guardian very quickly on the front page of The Guardian. This is a big story that has been a smaller story in the other papers, but it's big on The Guardian.
10 insurance, risk liquidation as 43-scale recapitalization hurdle. NTIA, there's been this recapitalization exercise that's been going on. Of course, you know that the presidency, the President Tinubu's administration, they've looked into the insurance industry as well. There was a review, but of course, just like the banking sector does, where you have recapitalization, you also have the same in the insurance as well. And we're told that 10 risk liquidation, 43 scale recapitalization hurdle. It's good to know. If you want to know who the 43 or who they are, feel free to check the front page, page 6 in particular, inside of the Guardian newspaper. The other newspaper, which is the Nigerian Tribune, page 4, has that information as well. Onaiyekan, Atiku, Christian leaders, Uriwa tackle presidency. That made one of our top stories today. Looking into the conversations that we had all through the weekend, I think it was indeed a bigger conversation, not just because he spoke on national TV, but it was the after the response from the presidency that sparked up a whole lot of conversation. I like the infography on the front page there. And looking at the insurance recapitalization hurdle, the recapitalization scorecard, 43 operators successfully cleared, 10 may face liquidation or merger, so they could be acquired by the others, the stronger ones. 23 non-life, 10 life insurance, 8 composite, and 2 reinsurance. Those are the lists you find there. 10 firms facing liquidation or forced mergers. There could be a merger. A strategic impact and public trust, powering large-scale national projects, oil and gas, aviation, infrastructure, restoring trust through claims, and so on. You find all of that also being mentioned. Increased capacity allows local firms to underwrite oil and gas, aviation, and marine risks. So those are the things you find there as well when you look at the news or the story on page 6. Atiku presidency, Baker, we've taken that. Nigeria in $15 billion flood losses as experts see wider insurance coverage. The insurance industry is starting to look like it's a new boom, eh?
Most people that live on the island should get... I mean, it's the best advice I can give.
I don't know if you plan that.
I'm sure they'll be paying a premium on that because they are susceptible and...
I mean, whether we like it or not, I also need to mention here that as we wrap up the show, recapitalization of the insurance sector is very key. I mean, I've had close ties with some of the insurance firms, and I can tell you that I like the way insurance is now being looked upon. Years ago, when we were growing up, Benga, when we heard insurance and we saw the people coming to sell insurance to you, you yourself will ask yourself, you selling to me, are you insured? Because of, but now we see the way it's been.
Because of our cultural leanings, our
Absolutely.
insurance policies has always been, God forbid.
I cover myself with the blood.
Can never be me.
I reject it. All right, we have to head out of the studio. Thank you for joining and watching us today. We'll be back tomorrow.
Soon?
Thank you.
Wow. Time is...
Siri comes up next. Have a lovely day.
We love to stay, but we have to go.
As we are wrapping up, shout out to Bettina Nweli, our State House correspondent. It was her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Bettina. From all of us on Breakfast Central and News Central, we love you.
Happy birthday. Mwah. And shout out to Tunde Raji's birthday is coming up in the future.
Every day is Tunde Raji's birthday.
The future.
Bye-bye, please.